Excuse me, everybody, if I could have you begin taking your seats. We're going to begin in just a couple of moments. Please take a seat. Good morning, everybody. If you could take your seats, we're going to begin the presentation and remarks now. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. If I could get your attention so we can talk about all of your work. All right. So good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today. Thank you for joining us. It's truly an honor to be here today, to welcome you, to thank you for all that you've done to get us here today. And if I could just get some silence in the room, please. Thank you. Getting here to this milestone and celebrating this today with all of you is a truly special occasion. Testimonial to the weather and this wonderful attendance that we have here today. So my name is Julie Schneider. I'm the Director of the Housing and Revitalization of the Department of the City of Detroit. I came to the city and the Housing and Revitalization Department 9 years. And during that time and throughout the mayor's tenure, the mayor's leadership has never wavered on affordable housing. He's pushed us to think big, always put our residents first, be solutions-oriented, and navigate through the bureaucracy. Today, we celebrate the accomplishments of in the past 5 years since 2019. I'll waste no time in kicking off this celebration and introduce and invite Mayor Mike Duggan to the stage to make remarks.
Isn't that wall of projects amazing? You know, in large cities across America, the evening news is filled with stories of the homeless crisis, homeless encampments pitched on sidewalks, in parks, even in neighborhoods. But while we have an occasional issue here, we don't have a crisis of that magnitude. And we don't for a number of reasons. We've got great outreach partners in hand and our homeless services folks. We've got great partners running our shelters. But the single biggest factor is that the mayor and the city council have been completely unified on one principle, and that is that lower income Detroiters who have been here will not be displaced for new residents coming in. Right? Isn't that what we should be doing? And so that's an easy thing for politicians to say, but today we're here to say that we've delivered. And with Amin Irving's project breaking ground here at 7850 East Jefferson, the city of Detroit has now passed the $1 billion investment mark in affordable housing in just the last 5 years. It's pretty remarkable. 4,600 units, 71 different projects with 47 different developers and 26 different lenders and investors. It is a community that has done it. They are here today, and I want to say thank you to all of you who have made this possible. This $1 billion in 5 years is 1,600 new units. It's 3,000 existing units that got renovated but had their affordability period extended by an average of 30 years. So the low-income folks who live there know they can stay another 30 years. And so the partners who have carried us have been tremendous. Of course, President Biden, the American Rescue Plan, and the HUD programs, Mike Polzinelli is here from HUD, have been great partners. Gretchen Whitmer has been terrific, and Amy Hovey is here today from MISHDA, and the city teams, currently led by Julie Schneider, before that Donald Rencher, before that Arthur Jemison, has been a nonstop commitment to make sure that not a single time when affordable housing had its tax credit expired did anybody get kicked out to go to market rate housing. Thank you to our directors for all that you have done. And I'm going to tell you something else that's different about Detroit. And every time visitors are here, they say a couple of things. Where are your homeless encampments? And when they look at the affordable housing, they can't believe where we're building it. In most cities, they'll take an undesirable part of town and put the housing up there. In Detroit, you know where we're building the affordable housing? Mariners Inn is doubling inside for housing for people suffering from addictions who were formerly homeless, being built right next to Little Caesars Arena. The affordable housing at Left Field is being built in Corktown, the hottest area of the city, overlooking the baseball field. The Cathedral Arts Apartments are being built on Woodward by the Archdiocese right across from the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral. In southwest Detroit, right across from beautiful Clark Park, are the La Jolla Gardens being built with one of the nicest areas of the city. And we are here today with Amin Irving on the riverfront, building 150 affordable apartments with a view of the Detroit River. This is what's happened when you have a mayor and a city council who for 10 years have been in lockstep on this issue. You've never seen us argue on this, and this is the way we can deliver results. The first couple of years, when we had developers and I told them I wanted affordable housing in these prime neighborhoods, it was like a knockdown, drag-out fight. Today, it's a part of the culture. We got folks coming in every month with these kinds of projects because as a city, all of us believe it, and the people in this room are the ones who made it possible. But I have to say something special about our partners on City Council. And a big factor was 2 years ago when Mary Waters led a group of 4 council members with Angela Callaway, Gabriela Santiago Romero, and Letitia Johnson. And they came and said, we need to do more. And we sat in a room for, probably 2 months. And they rolled out a plan together for another $200 million investment in affordable housing. That effort pushed us over the billion. And Councilmember Waters, you and your colleagues deserve enormous credit. Thank you for what you've done. But it hasn't been one council member. All 9 have supported us from the beginning. Councilman Durhal has fought every step of the way. He makes sure he gets his share in his district. And Council President Mary Sheffield has made affordable housing a priority from the time she started in creating the Affordable Housing Fund in the city of Detroit. It is a good day for everybody. And let me start by bringing up the Council President. And please give a big hand for our partners in this. Council President Mary Sheffield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning to everyone. I am thrilled to be here for this monumental announcement in our city's journey towards equitable housing for every Detroiter in our city. Over the past 5 years, City Council, the mayor, all of the stakeholders here today have invested a staggering $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion in housing initiatives. That deserves another round of applause. Ensuring that all Detroiters, regardless of their income, can choose to reside in any neighborhood throughout the city of Detroit. 71 projects, over 4,000 units, and these are not just units. These are residents, these are seniors, these are just residents of our city who now have access to quality, affordable housing in every sector of our city, downtown, midtown, riverfront, and most importantly, our neighborhoods. One critical component of the success today is the passage of the inclusionary housing ordinance that I had the privilege of sponsoring when I first got to council. This policy has played a critical role in shaping our city's housing landscape by requiring that developers set aside affordable housing units in their projects. I remember back in 2013 when I first took office, I was actually a member of the Planning and Development Committee at the time, and I remember seeing the amount of development in housing projects that were coming into the city that were requesting incentives but were not providing affordable housing. And I was very concerned, and so were residents. They were concerned that they would not be included in the revitalization and the growth that was happening in our city. And so in 2014, I began researching inclusionary housing policies from across the country. We started a working group with advocates and development professionals, and subsequently, the city's first ever inclusionary housing ordinance was formed. And the ordinance also created the city's first ever housing trust fund that funds housing for those at 30% of the area median income, which is really the greatest need in the city of Detroit. I believe that that deserves a round of applause. And as the mayor mentioned, because of the inclusionary housing ordinance and also the housing trust fund, there is this tone here in Detroit that if you come here and you build housing, it's kind of a norm that you must provide or you have to provide some type of affordability in Detroit. I remember at that time as well that we were told that 20% set aside at 80% of the area median income was impossible, that it would have a chilling effect on development. But look at us today. $1 billion later, here we are. We had to push the status quo, have those challenging conversations, but I am so proud to say that today we have largely exceeded the minimum affordability requirements, with the vast majority of the units being set aside, not at 80%, but at 60% of the AMI here in the city of Detroit. That's huge. So I would like to thank all of our partners, our stakeholders, the residents, all of the developers for understanding the value of producing affordable units and being committed to equitable and inclusive development. I want to also say that as we celebrate this milestone, let us not forget the work that lies ahead of all of us. We know that there still is a desperate need in our city for quality, affordable housing for Detroiters, that the work still continues. We still have work around AMI, how we actually define what affordability is for Detroiters based on Detroit's AMI, not on the federal guidelines of AMI. So let's reaffirm our commitment today, roll up our collective sleeves, and continue the work to ensure that every Detroiter, no matter their income, has access to affordable housing throughout the entire city of Detroit. I remain committed, looking forward to working with each and every one of you all, but congratulations on the work that we have accomplished to date, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. Let me first say thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, President Biden. Thank you, Governor Whitmer. Thank you, my colleagues on the City Council. Listen, $1 billion today. Here we go. Yes. So we fought hard to make affordable housing affordable, because that's the operative word, affordable. It has not been easy. AMI formulas did not put a roof over that single mother's head, scuffling to make ends meet for her and her children. But listening to the pleas of those mothers and young married couples motivated me to work with Mayor Duggan, and we are getting it done. Housing, like energy and water, are human rights in the Detroit that I represent. I want everybody to be clear. Hear me on this. Housing, like energy and water, are human rights in the Detroit that I represent. Everybody say human rights? That's right. And so, you know, when we sit on that city council every single day, every week for sure, every day actually, we get to hear from the community about what they need. There are times moms come into city council and bring their babies, sitting there testifying, crying out for help. And we do have a lot of work to do, but we've come a long way. And I'm very grateful for this milestone. And Mr. Mayor, we have some more work to do. Madam President, Member Durhall, Member Benson, we have more work to do. And for my colleagues that are not here, who's been sitting at the table with me, Member Callaway, Member Johnson, and Member Santiago Romero, we still have a lot more work to do. Listen, I'm glad, and Madam President knows that we have been fighting this AMI, this area median income, because it does not apply to Detroiters, folks. It just doesn't. The average income in the city of Detroit is about $27,000, maybe 30, but I think it's about 27,000. So we will continue to work. We will continue to ask HUD and the congressional people to do their jobs, and let's look at cities like the city of Detroit in a very unique way. We don't have a choice. But meanwhile, while we're having both of those fights on both ends, we also have to continue this fantastic work that we've managed to accomplish. Mr. Mayor, I am so grateful for this partnership. You do listen. You do. And I just want you to know that how much we appreciate the partnership and being able to get some things done. And remember, everybody, housing, like energy and water, is a human right. Thank you all so much.
Well, this is more than a monumental day. As I was riding over here, I was thinking about some of the things we all take for granted. And shelter is one of the most important things. As we talk about a rainy, cold day, I think some of us forget that tonight we'll be going home to warm homes that are heated up. We'll be going to shelter that can house us and our families. And so when we come to momentous occasions like this or events like this today, I never forget that. One, how blessed we all are, everyone in this room, to be able to have a roof over our heads, things that we take for granted. But nevertheless, when we talk about a housing crisis, not just across the nation, but somewhere here in Detroit, in which there was, and there in some aspects, we're still not out of the woods yet. Days like today show the progress moving forward. And I have to thank Mayor Duggan for his leadership as well as his entire team. I know he will say he cannot do it without a Donald Rencher, without a Julie Snyder, without a Art Jemison. I mean, these are folks who put in the work every single day to ensure that they improve the lives of Detroiters. And I want to personally thank them for their commitment. As the vice chair of the Planning and Economic Development Standing Committee, we see many projects come amongst us. And we oftentimes, my colleagues and I, we ask the developers very, very tough questions. Where is the affordability? Now, for me, having come from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority and learned so much about housing, one of the first things was that housing, which is considered affordable, consumes no more than 30% of your income. 30% of your income. So as we look across the city of Detroit and we see these buildings coming up, some folks may think because they are shiny inside, it may not be affordable. But because of the leadership and the thought that has gone into a lot of these projects and the commitment and the policy, we now have diversity here in the city of Detroit for housing that ranges from 30% all the way to 120% AMI. That is not something that is done across every city in America. And so today I am glad, I'm thankful for the partnership with the administration, but just the leadership of our council as well. We all come together. One thing when we take our surveys of what are the priorities that are important to Detroit City Council, housing is always number one. And we have always pushed housing forward for our residents. Finally, I want to say thank you to a group of folks who are in the room, which are the developers. Oftentimes, folks think that you are all millionaires, that you are all billionaires. And what I will tell you is, having discussions, some of them are, but some of them aren't. And the sacrifices and risks that they take to ensure that residents have affordable housing cannot go understated. When we talk about financing, when we talk about getting access to CDFIs, because some banks still don't lend, even to minority developers. There is a path that is a long path, but our city has worked to partner together with these developers to ensure that we're not including just affordable housing for our residents, but creating a path for generational wealth, entrepreneurship, and a pipeline so our developers can continue to do their passion, which is to put our residents into affordable housing. So again, I am happy to be here today to celebrate this. This is great, Mr. Mayor. Look, all of these pictures, over 70. I want to get it to 100. And so we'll continue that commitment and that partnership. And with that, I've got a great partner on council as well. He's been here before me, and before I came, we had a lot of conversations just about affordable housing, but he's been a champion, council member Scott Benson from the 3rd District.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And so just quickly, and it's been said by every here today, number one, it's an honor and privilege to be here today. Number two, you can already tell God is letting us know we've been here too long today. Let's get this tent down and let's break some ground and build some more affordable housing. So I don't want to step in the way between more affordable housing and God. But when we talk about what it takes to build affordable housing, the brain power that has to be pushed in there and the dedication of the people to make that affordable housing. You've got over 200 people in this tent today. You've got the state, you've got the county, you've got the bankers, you've got the developers, you've got the city, you have elected officials. It takes all of us to make affordable housing. Now, private sector housing, not much easier, but it doesn't take this much brain power nor these many partners to make that happen. So there is a level of commitment and dedication to make that happen. And you all should give yourselves a round of applause for being committed and staying the path here, because this is a mission and we're all mission-based to make sure that we can provide a level of quality affordable housing to our residents here in the city of Detroit. And just lastly, I had the opportunity to talk to the church ladies last night, many of whom who live in this area, and we talked about the direction of the city and what the priorities are, and affordable housing came to the top of my conversation, and they were glad to hear that. That is on everybody's mind, and it's critical, and I'm just so happy and proud to be here and proud to have this team that is so dedicated, and to have all of you all who have committed, many of you, all of your lives and your professions to affordable housing, and I appreciate that and really want to thank you all and the developers who are out here as well today, because this space is not easy, but you have dedicated and committed to put in the brain power and dedication to making it happen. Thank you all very much.
So I think I just want to reflect on something for a moment. I think in other cities, you know, the support for affordable housing is not something that can be counted on as much as we can count on our council to support affordable housing. And so they're here today, they're here with us every day, and so I want to thank you for your just continued and ongoing support for affordable housing. I also want to thank our other voting bodies, such as the City Planning Commission and Historic District Commission. You know, $1 billion in affordable housing takes many people, as is evident here today. And when we think about how affordable housing is funded, it takes many organizations. I would like to thank those of you who have made major investments in affordable housing and enable us to do this work, such as local community development financial institutions, LISC, Invest Detroit, Capital Impact Partners, Enterprise, traditional banks, syndicators, philanthropic organizations, which we'll talk about those contributions in just a few moments. And of course, governmental entities such as HUD, MISHDA, the Detroit Housing Commission, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and the Detroit Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. It takes all of us. But for the last few decades, though, as many of you in this room know, the main source for affordable housing is low-income housing tax credits. And we benefit from having a great partner in MISHDA who believes in the value of preserving and creating affordable housing in Michigan's largest city. I'd like to welcome to the microphone Executive Director of MISHDA, Amy Hovey.
Thanks, Julie. I'm Amy Hovey with the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, and on behalf of the Whitmer administration, I'm just going to say, wow. That's a lot of housing projects in 5 years. It is because of the leadership, so thank you to all of you. Without city leadership, without a vision, without letting your budgets reflect your values and your commitment to housing, we would not be here today. There is a lot of city funding in these projects, in addition to state and federal funding and bank funding. That allows us to do more projects in the city of Detroit. Passing the pilots and the tax increment financing and the things that cities sometimes struggle with, it's an important piece to making this happen. So I really want to say thank you. And then I want to say thank you to the staff. They are dedicated. Boy, if we're not funding their projects, they are on the phone to me, letting me have it, telling me how I need to help get it done, and it works. If you see the amount of funding from MSHA that comes into Detroit, it is because of the vision, it's the gap funding, it is the dedication of the staff, communicating to us the priorities and helping to keep Detroit on the radar for state funding and getting it done. Also, I know the developers have been thanked, but I just have to thank them again. This is hard work. It takes a lot of persistence. It's a lot of sweat and tears to get to a completed project. And a lot of people don't have the stomach for it. When you talked about the amount of developers that you have here, Mayor, that completed these projects, it's very impressive. So thanks for hanging in there with MSHA, because I know sometimes we're not the easiest, so we're getting easier to deal with, and for doing all the hard work and making sure that Detroit residents have a place to live. And then finally, even though the projects aren't on the boards, on the wall, I don't want to forget the neighborhoods and the amount of work that MSHA and the city and all of you do actually to help with infill housing in neighborhoods, home improvement within the neighborhoods, and the folks that living in Detroit. Every development counts, whether it's a big development or a single family infill, it all matters, and thanks for all that you do.
All right, thank you, Amy. I also want to take a moment to thank the syndicators of LIHTC, especially those who are heavily active in Detroit, especially Sinair, NEF, Bank of America, PNC, Alliant, and Korea. You know, several years ago, we launched two major initiatives side by side to catalyze development in our neighborhoods and bring new financial tools to do so. The Strategic Neighborhood Fund and the Detroit Housing for the Future Fund, respectively managed by Invest Detroit. Thank you, Invest Detroit, for being here today. And LISC have deployed tens of millions of dollars and leveraged far more. So many of you in this room have made that happen through contributions and your belief in making that work happen. To talk about this work, please welcome LISC Senior Vice President of Urban Market Excellence, Tahira Ziegler.
Good morning. Happy to be here with you. Thank you so much, Mayor, for your vision and leadership and partnership, and thank you for City Council for your support. It's wonderful to be here today with you all. LISC, we use a holistic approach to community economic development, and it centers around neighborhood priorities and place-based investing, and the goal of creating better conditions for economic equity for all. So I am happy to be here with you. LISC, as you may know, along with the city, launched the Detroit Housing for the Future Fund in 2020, and the fund aimed at deploying $58 million in capital, I hope we don't get blown away, to affordable housing in Detroit, and it's anchored by a $15 million commitment from JP Morgan Chase. So thank you so much to JP Morgan Chase. I think I saw Pierre. And a guarantee from the Kresge Foundation. Detroit Housing for the Future Fund is managed by both LISC locally and our national LISC Strategic Investments. That particular management, I think there's a few people in the room that are here from LFM. I think it's just important that we also obviously recognize the larger Affordable Housing Leverage Fund partnership, which was the public-private partnership, which really was the vision of the mayor's team, Art Jemison, Donald Rensher, Julie Snyder, and others. they really put this together in terms of the partnership between the city, MISHA, and a CDFI LISC. We're happy to be a part of that process and to celebrate $1 billion of affordable housing here in the city. We thank you. I also want to make sure that we recognize a number of our other investors that really pooled the funding together to make our Housing for the Future Fund a reality. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Flagstar Bank, First Independence Bank, CIBC, Citizens Bank, Huntington Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Penske, and Key Bank. That's a lot of investors. Collectively, we've demonstrated what is possible when leaders take a stake and create a vision, taking action and are committed to being impactful. I want to also mention that, and Julie mentioned the Strategic Neighborhood Fund, and we really thought about this fund as the mayor laid this vision out as a sister brother fund. So Detroit Housing for the Future Fund was considered the sister to that brother fund. Both programs have made significant investments in people and place within the city. Both investment vehicles share investors, and when the mayor announced the strategy, he was clear that he wanted to drive economic growth and affordable housing into the city. So in closing, I just want to thank the local team. I would like to thank the city again, and we have a lot more work to do, as you've heard, and so we hope to be a part of that collective next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Tahira. So I'm a low talker, so putting me next to a generator is tough competition for me. So hopefully everyone can hear me. So there are so many people behind the scenes that support affordable housing development activity that don't often get to enjoy in the celebration. And today the point was to make this as inclusive as possible and all those who have contributed in this work. So I want to thank those people. I want to start with the dedicated employees, past and present, of the Housing and Revitalization Department. It's really awesome to see so many people who are former employees of the department come and join us today. I especially want to thank the admin and finance teams, the development and investment team, and of course my predecessors and lifelong friends, Arthur Jemison and Donald Rensher. I want to acknowledge our partner agencies. I want to acknowledge the Planning and Development Department, Buildings and Safety, Public Works, the Get Stuff Done, or the General Services Department, who made this, performed heroic work to keep us dry today. The Detroit Land Bank, the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, the Department of Neighborhoods, the Law Department, and of course our financial and grant management offices as well. It's an honor to work alongside you each and every day. Of course, we also have to thank our fellow public servants in the Detroit office of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We work alongside each other every day to help preserve and create affordable housing as a part of our missions. They're truly great partners. And to talk about that and their work, please welcome the Director of the Detroit Field Office, Michael Polsinelli.
Well, I'll tell you, when I walked in this morning, I felt like I was walking into a family reunion. So many folks I know here that I've worked with for the past 30 years on housing issues in the city of Detroit, and it was just truly great to see everyone here who has worked so hard, so tirelessly just to improve housing in the city of Detroit. And then when I came in, I was looking at all the photos on this wall everybody talks about, and I was looking at them, oh, we got HUD money in this one, and that one, and this one, and that one, and it really warmed my heart. But, so I don't get in trouble for my bosses in D.C., I better get back to my prepared remarks. So I don't say anything that gets me any trouble. So anyways, $1 billion invested in new affordable housing in the city of Detroit since 2019. That is unbelievable and such a credit to everyone in this room today. It's truly music to my ears and to HUD in general. I want to congratulate the City of Detroit and Mayor Duggan for this incredible accomplishment and commitment to affordable housing in the City of Detroit. And I may add that HUD is happy to partner in many of these affordable housing deals throughout the city. I don't know if anybody knows this or not. Many people know this, but back in January of 2022, Mayor Duggan joined HUD's House America initiative, where the city pledged to bring more affordable housing units online in the city. And using funds from the American Rescue Plan, Detroit not only met its goal, it far exceeded it, thanks to the efforts of the city and Julie Schneider's department. So HUD and the city have partnered, as I said, on many of the developments we are celebrating today, including, as the mayor brought up, the Choice Neighborhood Development in Corktown, where HUD awarded $30 million. And we're going to make sure that affordable housing in this area, which is seeing incredibly fast rising rents, will remain affordable for the residents who want to remain there and move into that area. We are also working with the city on the redevelopment of the United Artists Building, which will ensure that 20% of those units will remain affordable. And again, that is being developed by an entirely minority development team. I was clapping for myself. And then what the mayor did not bring up, and I'm going to bring up because he's ready to throttle me about this, because as Amy said, sometimes government doesn't move as quickly as the city would like. But we are currently working on the financing application for Lee Plaza. I knew you'd like that. As we all know here, long vacant and a blight on the neighborhood, and when finished, will provide beautifully renovated and mixed income housing and put a long vacant building back into use in the city. And these are just a few of the developments that we're working on with the city, and there are many more. From a national standpoint, the Biden administration and HUD are focused on increasing the supply of affordable housing. I don't know about you all, but when I watched the State of the Union address, for the first time that I can remember, and I'm 57, I saw a president passionately, urgently stressing the need for more affordable housing. And since 2021, HUD has built and repaired more than 500,000 units of affordable housing. We've helped approximately 2 million homeowners with FHA mortgages avoid foreclosure and helped hundreds of thousands avoid eviction. We've issued more new rental assistance vouchers in the past 3 years than have been issued in any 3-year period in the past 20 years. And we have permanently housed more than 1.2 million people experiencing homelessness. While these statistics are promising, we still have a lot of work to do. But I am confident we can get it done. I wanted to thank the city council, Mayor Duggan, and especially the Director of Housing and Revitalization, Julie Schneider, and her staff. We keep talking about her predecessors, Arthur and Donald, and I was sitting up here just looking, I said, I wish I had Arthur's boots in this weather today, but in any event, and we also have to thank, as everybody said, the owners of this housing, the developers, the contractors, for continuing to work with HUD to improve the lives of Detroiters through the provision of more quality, affordable housing. And as I was sitting there, whenever anybody spoke about affordable housing, any of these speakers, they always put quality before it, and that's the important thing. You got that right. And I was just telling, I'm going off script now, I'm gonna get in trouble. But I was telling, we had the acting secretary of HUD in town last week, not in Detroit, unfortunately, in Ann Arbor. But I was telling her, I remember when I started at HUD in '94, and you could drive and say, oh, that's a HUD building, that's a HUD building. Now we drive around and we can't tell, is that a HUD building? Is that market rate? And that's how it should be. But anyways, the work we all do behind the scenes to get these deals done is incredible. Sometimes it just really blows my mind. So I look forward to celebrating the next $1 billion of investment in affordable housing in the city of Detroit. And I thank you all from the administration. Thank you.
Okay. So you can't have, we've talked about government entities, we've talked about funders, but of course you can't have developments without developers. So I want to give a big thanks to all of those developers in the room today. 71 developments, 4,646 units of affordable housing for Detroiters. It's what the 58 development organizations represented here today have accomplished since 2019. Behind this major milestone are the thousands of residents who are benefiting from the stability and security that comes with affordable, quality housing today, and the tens of thousands of Detroiters that will benefit from this housing for many decades to come. These developments bring investments into 46 unique neighborhoods in the city of Detroit, every city council district. Critical resources that will continue to provide affordable housing again for at least 30 years. And we're here today at what is the development that took us from $900 and some odd million to over $1 billion. 7850. 7850 East Jefferson will provide 150 units of affordable housing to Detroiters. Please welcome founder, president, and CEO of Janasco Development Company, Amin Irving.
Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. My name is Amin Irving, founder, president, Janasco Development Company, and also the owner and developer of 7850. You know, as I reflect back on my first housing development almost 26 years ago, I can't help but think how far the city of Detroit has come from a procedural landscape. Back then, it was like the wild, wild west, where everything was seemingly reactive without any real consistent procedures. But then Mayor Duggan came along, and he and his staff, including Arthur, salute Arthur, said, there's a new sheriff in town, right? Gone are the days of being able to acquire city-owned land without a realistic, actionable plan of effectuation. Gone are the days of being able to do real estate without respecting the overall strategic plan of the city. Gone are the days of being able to do a deal without active neighborhood resident participation. Detroit has gone from a city of, I'm not sure, to a city of yes. And now we're here today celebrating the city of yes. I have seen Mayor Duggan work behind the scenes to ensure residents are respected and results are achieved. So I consider it an honor to celebrate this remarkable achievement of eclipsing $1 billion. Thank you, Mayor Duggan, the City Council, and most importantly, the residents here in the city of Detroit. God bless.
All right. So, $1 billion in investment, there's a lot of people to thank. So I would love to thank every single one of you individually, but you probably all have other things to do today. So, so thank you very much. I want to thank those people that put today together. So yesterday I kept getting calls and I was like, well, how does it look? And they were like, people normally tell me some good news, but when I kept repeatedly getting sounds of concern, I was growing more concerned throughout the day. So thank you, LaShawn, Nicole, Arlene, Rebecca, Jason, GSD, for making this happen today. So $1 billion is a big milestone. There's so much work for us to do. You look at this wall, clearly together we can accomplish big things. So I look forward to the next billion, next 2 billion. But thank you, congratulations, and thank you for being here today.